Hi guys, and today we're going to be having a look at the Tier 6 German medium tank, the VK30.01D, which is currently on the top of the tree run at the moment. And as you can see, it's going up to the Leopard 1, and it starts off at the Panzer 2, goes to the Panzer 3E, the Panzer 3J, Panzer 3-4, the VK30.01D, VK30.02D, nice and confusingly named, then the Indian Panzer, the Leopard, Prototype A, and then the Leopard 1. So, Tier 6, the VK30.01. Now, I've played a good few games in this now. I've unlocked the VK30.02, so I'm about to buy that and use that instead and sell this. So, I've got a few things to say about this. Firstly, one of the things you want to do straight away is unlock the top turret. I don't know why that's just gone back to the garage there. Unlock the top turret and then unlock the top gun. The top turret is significantly smaller than the stock turret, which I'll show you in a minute. It's also got better armour, and as you can see, the stock turret's got 50 millimeters at the front and 30 at the side and rear, whereas the second turret has got 80 on the front, so a significant increase in armour protection, and 45 at the sides and the back. But that's still not a great deal at the tier. The other thing it does is it increases your traverse speed by an extra 10 degrees per second, which is important, and it also gives you an extra 20 meters of view range, which can make the difference to life or death in the game, especially towards the end. After that, obviously, the same things like engine and radio are also useful. You may have some of those unlocked from other tanks. So, a little quick run through. It's got 60 millimeters of armor at the front, it's got 40 on the sides, it's got 50 on the rear, and with the top turret it's got 80 millimeters of turret armor in the front, and it's got 40 on the side, 45 on the sides and 45 on the rear. The top gun, it has, there we go, there's characteristics. It's got slightly less rate of fire than the stock gun. The stock gun's got 15 rounds per minute compared to 14.3 with the upgraded gun. But with the upgraded gun, you also get an increase in the penetration. It goes from 110 to 150, so you get extra 40 millimeters of penetration, which is, very, very useful, especially when you're fighting against heavy tanks who are higher tier than you. The average damage also goes up for your standard rounds and your APCR rounds. It goes up to, apologies for that, it goes up to 135, so an extra 25 damage per shot, which increases your damage per minute. But the most important thing for me is the aim time, or the dispersion, reduces from 0.39 to 0.35, so your shots are more accurate. However, I have had problems with this tank. I think it's best to make sure this gun is fully aimed, because sometimes when it's not being fully aimed, even if it's only been like half a second or a second away from being fully aimed, and I pull the trigger, a lot of the time it goes right to the edge of the aiming circle, as if there's kind of a magnet pulling the shell to the ground or to the side. It can be a bit frustrating, especially because the German guns are supposed to be accurate. It's certainly not got the Russian technique of just turning your turret whilst driving and shouting out Russia and hitting your target right in its weak spot, which is, like threading a shell through the eye of a needle. So, we're going to have a little look at the armour in a second, in a bit more detail, and have a look at what I mean about the armour protection. We'll have a look at some games. You'll notice that because I'm not intending to keep this tank for very long, I'm running binoculars and a camo net on it, because it's just running through. I'm intending to sell it, so there's no point putting on permanent equipment. You can see with the binoculars my view range is 478 meters, and if I take those off, if I demount those, my view range is 382. So that's why I put those on, because it gives you that extra advantage, especially because this is kind of a cross between a medium and a light, and that's how I'd play it. I certainly wouldn't brawl with it. I certainly wouldn't try and get involved in trading shots with people. You want to try and stay hidden, use view range to spot your enemies for you, use the camo net to make sure you stay hidden as best as possible. You'll notice that the camo ratings are pretty good when you're stationary, and even indeed when you're moving, at 29.06 with the camo net when you're stationary, and 15 when you're moving. Obviously that reduces quite significantly every time you fire, so you'll probably want to use the pull back into a bush technique. Okay, so we'll have a look at the armour and then we'll have a look at some game footage as well. We'll talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages. I'm just going to say as well, I do like this tank. I've had some great games in it. I do quite enjoy it. Unfortunately, thanks to the COVID-19 outbreak, the games are now very, very random. Sometimes you'll have a great team, sometimes you'll have an absolutely awful team, and it seems very rarely that the teams will be balanced now, presumably because you've got so many school kids who are free time and they're just ploughing their time into playing the game, and they're not really thinking. They're trying to play it a bit like Fortnite. So, the armour. The armour is sloped. The 60mm sloped on the front, but it's only really going to give you between about 85 and 90, or 94 there, 94mm on the front. So most tier 6s are not going to have a problem penetrating your upper plate. Furthermore, the driver's hatch is a slight weak spot if anyone's really struggling to penetrate you. The advantage is this bar here is quite thick armour, it's 100mm, but it's going to be flat, so again you're still going to be penetrated there quite easily. The lower plate though is at quite a good angle, so most things at tier 6 will auto ricochet. The turret though, the armour is very, very flat, so again everything's going to go through that. You've got the big cupola on the side, on the top there, which is also a target if you're hull down. The advantage is if they miss the shot onto these flat bits, they might hit the sides, which is going to be an auto ricochet angle, which will protect you. Side scraping in the tank is a possibility. As you can see, you can go quickly into or ricochet angle at the side when you're side scraping. However, as soon as you pull out to shoot, this upper plate is going to be vulnerable, and you know the potential to track you and then keep hitting you in that plate. Also, your turret armor is still going to be penetratable, no matter, even if you've got this covered up. The advantage of the stock turret though, I'll show you now, is it's significantly smaller. If you have a look at the kind of size that is, it kind of makes the tank go in a nice diamond kind of shape going up. If I put on the stock turret, it's disappeared, there we go. You can see it's bigger, it's flatter. It's essentially the same one that's on the Panzer IV. It occupies a bit more space on the sides. Okay, you've got the shirts and on the sides to protect you from heat, but that's not really a problem because the armour is just not thick enough to do anything on the tier 6. So, hull down, sniping, because from a distance they might miss this turret, they might hit your gun, they might hit the sides. That's probably the way I would play this tank. Now I'm going to show you some game footage, and we'll have a little bit of a talk on some strategies for this tank as well. So here we are in a tier 7 game. It's an assault game, it's on Siegfried line and with the defending team. So as I said, it's kind of like a mix between a light and a medium tank. It performs kind of both roles, neither of them as well as say a dedicated light tank or a dedicated medium tank does, but you know, it's kind of a halfway house between them. So bearing that in mind, I decided I'm going to take up this position on the I've taken up this position on the right flank, and as we can see up here, reason being I'm trying to spot down here. As you can see these two guys, I'm going to try and snipe, and this T-34-85 is first victim of the day. He's going to sit there, driving nice and slowly. I'll put it back up to full speed, and I've got a nice easy shot into his side there. Let me have that one. Excalibur pops up, an OI Experimental pops up. You can see from the map there too far away the OI Experimental. So I'm just going to sit here and use the camouflage to be able to hopefully shoot and damage people, and hopefully be able to spot people, especially like that Excalibur, especially because I've got now the binoculars are activated. The OI doesn't seem to be moving, so I don't have to worry about him. There may be other stuff. So here comes the Excalibur. I aim, he pulls back just as I'm about to fire, so I'm not going to waste a shot when I'm not fully aimed, because often it misses. So the T-34-85 charges to his death. That was pointless of him. Absolute waste of his life, but he's on the enemy team, so yeah, I'll take that. Can I get a shot at this Panzer IV? Yes, I can, just about. So aiming, he's hiding, he pulls back out, track him, and damage him. I suspect he's still there, although he's disappeared. Fire a shot, yes he is, he's still there. So, again, quick reload on this thing. You've got good damage per minute. It's about 2,000 and something. SU-152 starts coming along. Track him, damage him, excellent. Then this Excalibur pops back up. He's quite a good player, so I know he's going to ride that ridge line, come up and down. But he's now almost dead, so I'm going to try and push him. I know the OI Experimental is behind, but it seems to be camping, which is very odd behaviour, considering it's an assault game. He's got to push. Apologies for the cough. Yeah, it's this new virus that's going around, apparently. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. So, Excalibur dies before I get there. Now the OI Experimental. I'm hoping that me and this VK, we can push him. I'm hoping that his gun's not particularly accurate, although he manages to hit me there for not a lot of damage, so it must be the stock gun. I'm hoping to get alongside him, because the weakness with the OI Experimental is the gun depression's not great. So he's fired, he's manages to hit me there, but I know that'll be it. Managed to put one in his front, because the gun's got quite good penetration. And then just sit here in this side spot here, and we can see he's got a depression enough to hit my turret, but only at an angle, and as long as I keep moving around he should find it difficult, so he ends up dying. But that Dicamax has put one into me. So, miss there. You can see again the accuracy of this gun, unless you're fully aimed, doesn't really do a great deal. Dicamax takes a shot at the VK there, who's going to die. He's going to burn to death, unfortunately for him. There he goes. I don't want to risk pushing, because I can see we've got some other tanks that are hiding around here, and I'm on low hit points. I don't want to go by myself, because I will potentially take a lot of damage, so I'm just waiting for this Dicamax. I'm hoping he's going to push back out to that spot there and see if he can spot me. He's probably aware of that I'm waiting for that, so he's probably unlikely to do it particularly quickly. And then I notice his Panzer IV behind. There he is. He's starting to come, and then Dicamax does indeed push out, but luckily managed to derp a shot in and fire another shot, but I'm not going to pull back out in front of that Dicamax, because I take one shot from that gun, even a glancing blow with a high explosive, and that'll finish me off. So just seeing where this Panzer III is going to go. He's going to go around that way. Okay, so in that case I should go around the other way. Being careful with the hit points. There he is. He's spotted now. He starts to move move away. I don't know why the, again, accuracy of the gun. Don't know why the Panzer III didn't pull away a bit sooner there. T-34 finishes him. I know that Skoda's gun in for me, so I'm going to use the speed of this thing to keep moving. So I'm up to the 58 kilometers an hour. Never really quite get to the 60. Hoping I'm going to get unspotted, and I'm going to go looking now. I figure this game is probably lost. So we've got a Skoda up there. There goes a T-34. Skoda and Panther up there. Facing an OI against the RT, so at this point I'm going to go and finish off that RT, because the left RT is definitely overpowered. Now I could stop here, and it'd probably be a sensible choice to stop and let my binoculars come into view. There we go, we get spotted. At the same time I get spotted. I aim, fire, and I must hit his track, because I don't penetrate his armour for some reason. So I get auto lock on. I then start driving, wiggling, trying to avoid those shots. He can reload almost as quickly as I can. His turning's not very great, and every time he turns his tank, it reduces his accuracy, but he still manages to get me. Managed to track him, put a shot into him. Still got to get around him. There we go, managed to put one in. But it's me and our RT against a Black Prince and a Skoda T24, and I know both of those are fairly full health. So the game is lost, but you can see the idea there. That was using the ridge lines. I was trying to stay hull down, I was trying to stay unspotted, and then using the speed and manoeuvrability of it to get around the battlefield. At this point I know now the Black Prince is on the cap. He's got very, very strong armour. I'm going to struggle to penetrate him. He's also got a good gun. So I just kind of YOLO here. No point me worrying too much. With only 39 hit points, I'm going to really struggle to take out these two tanks, even if I was the best player in the world. So Black Prince takes a shot and misses. I pull out, aim, hit his track, or hit his side. Can't penetrate him, he penetrates me. Game over. We'll have a look at another one, slightly different game as well. So here we are, we're on Prokhorovka, and this time it's a tier 6 game. And it's again, this time it's encounter again, sorry. And I decide I'm going to go up over the hill. I'm going to try and get up onto the big hill here and use the gun depression, use the view range and the camouflage. Now what I don't do here is I don't pay attention to where I'm driving to. I'm playing Plague Inc. at the same time, and I fall down, kill my commander, damage the turret, and knock off 254 hit points out of myself. Not a great start, but you know, fuck it, I'll carry on playing, pardon my French. I'll carry on playing, see what I can do, put the commander back in, repair the turret, because I will need those, and I'm hoping that my repair kit and first aid kit will refresh by the time I actually need them. So I'm going to speed it up here, because this little place here is quite a good place to come on Prokhorovka in a medium tank. If you've got the good view range and the camouflage and you've got the gun depression, not so good to come up here if you don't have the gun depression. I come up, this Rudy has pushed way too far. He spots me, but I put one into him and track him. Fire a second one, hopefully keep him tracked, do some damage. He starts to pull back. Again, I'm trying to go for that tracking shot. Critical hit him, so probably hit his tracks, but don't damage him. And just take him out. Pull back a little bit because I know the RT's probably going to be zooming in. There he goes, so the RT's fired. Now, not a good idea to go pushing too quickly here at this point, because often the enemy tanks can come flying up this ridge. And there indeed, T-34-85M, one of the most overpowered tanks. Then I notice this Panzer III-4 down here, the previous one in the tech tree to this. So I aim, managed to hit a shot, and now I know we've got two guys just in front. But I'm going to see what I can spot here. I'm going to be cautious. Already done myself quite a lot of damage, and I've taken a shot from that Rudy, so I want to be a bit careful and a bit cautious. So I'm using those binoculars, see what I can see. At the moment, not a great deal. So my next plan is to push up to these bushes just in front of me here, these ones here, because they will provide me with some cover and I can get hull down. But before that I'm going to switch to APCR because of that T-34-85M. I also decide at this point I'm going to have a little sneaky shot at this Matilda. No, it's a bit of an ask. So, notice our T-34-85M's gone. This T-34-85 on the enemy team basically just shows me his backside, and I gladly put as many into it as I possibly can. That sounds far filthier than I intended it. Hetzer, again, tries to run away. At that point, there's no point. You may as well just accept you're dead and finish him off. Well, don't finish him off, I'll put some damage into him. Arty Hunt next time. I know we've got an Su-85, a Panzer IV-H and a KV-1, as well as two Arties. So I push up over the ridge. I'm expecting to spot somebody here. I do not. Neither do I get spotted though, so I know the RT is not down this line. They must all be in this back corner, over around KJ12, that kind of area. So as I'm coming along, I get spotted. I'm trying to get behind this kind of like hill and this dead tank to use it as a bit of cover. Su-85 gets spotted. I put myself, use this. There we go, there's the accuracy. I didn't fully aim, so the shot pings into the ground. I'm using this dead Panzer IV as cover from the Su-85, who's now dead. KV-1 managed to hit him in the engine, luckily set him on fire. Is he going to burn to death? No, he manages to put it out, so I finish him off with that. Game over. Again, using the ridge lines in this, don't be too aggressive. On tier 6, obviously, you can be a bit more aggressive than otherwise. But your armour isn't going to help you out too much. You've got to use that view range and try and snipe. It's not the best for sniping, but I've quite enjoyed this because it is quite a flexible tank. Being, as I said earlier on, halfway between a medium and a light, you can move around, you can relocate on the battlefield quite easily, and if you need to, you can also do a fighting retreat and fall back to another area of the map, or if the game is horrendously lost, just fire a couple of shots, do a little bit of damage, fall back to another defendable position before you get hammered. Use your camouflage and your view range to spot the enemy tanks as they're approaching you again, fire off another couple of shots and retreat and fall back, which is another very useful strategy to take in this tank. So, VK30.01D. It's a good fun little tank at tier 6. I enjoyed the grind, and I am now going to start the grind for the VK30.02D, and I will let you know how that goes and my thoughts about that. If you want me to do the previous tanks in this Leopard line, so the Panzer II, the Panzer IIIe and the Panzer IIIK and the Panzer IIIV, then let me know in the comments below and I will endeavour to do those for you. So take care out on the battlefield, guys. Stay safe from COVID-19. I hope you're all good about that. You've all got plentiful supplies of loo roll and pasta, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye bye. And I just finished recording that video, and I was playing one last game in the VK to use up the ammo and to get my 3x bonus for this weekend, when I came across this stonker of a game on Great Wall, or Empire's Border. And I decided I'm going to come up the kind of the little ridge, the little valley as it were, in between the two mountains in the top right hand corner of the map. And I've got the Sturv coming with me, and also an M4, basically a jumbo behind me, M4A3. E2 coming up behind me. They're both fairly decent players. So I'm going to try and use that fact that the turret is quite small and you can get some ricochets on the sides if you're a bit lucky by trying to play this ridge here right in front. And you can see I will stop about there, spot that 252, I pull back and I'm trying to make sure that I'm hard to hit, and I'm going to basically stay there and sit there and wait and see what happens. Okay, so now will he pop back out again? Is he going to stay there? Yep. Oh, there, he's got a mate, so I'll put one into the T40. Pull back down again. Take a shot, pull back down. Pull back up. Take a shot, pull back down. Managed to do some damage there. And this is basically going to be the game that I'm going to be playing now. I'm trying to take the shots. As you can see there, it's just glanced the side of the turret and not penetrated. If I can do that, it's alright. I'll just sit here, fire up the last of the ammo. I've not got a lot left. I take a couple of shots there. I take one, you can see, into the top of the bottom of the turret, and one into the top of the upper plate. But I just keep popping up and keep firing down that route, seeing what I can hit. And we'll have a little look and see what they can see from this point of view. So, these two tanks here, if I get level with their guns, they cannot see a great deal of my tank. Okay, there I am, hiding behind the jumbo. I'm staying behind the jumbo at the moment. So they can't see a great deal. If I have a look at what the T50 can see, all the way from his position, he can see even less of my tank. There's very, very little of it to shoot at. And that is the whole point about the way I'm trying to play this tank. I'm trying to show that bit of the turret. And you can see I'm taking shots around the turret, but they're not penetrating. There you go, got one on the commander's cupola, which definitely did hit. But I basically sit on this ridgeline, fired up all my armour piercing. I've now got just 7 shots of APCR, but I've done 1,299 damage, and there's still more to come. We've still got that T52, and we've still got that T3485M. So only crit the T52, pull back up. He hits my turret. Again, he bounces. I put one into him with the APCR. Again, you can see he's hit me just on the top of that gun mantlet, and that's where it's caused a ricochet. It's quite a small target to hit, and it's hard to do. Now I'm going to use the speed here. Use the auto aim so I can drive, focus on the driving. The T-34-85 can't cope with my speed. He can't turn his tank or his turret quick enough. Put one into him, put myself up to 1,547 damage, and jobs are good. And a great game. I finished top of the tree. It was a nice way to finish with this tank, to get the 3 times bonus and to use up almost all of that ammunition. There's no real need to do it, it's just I've enjoyed this tank. I'll be sad to sell it, and it's maybe one that I'll buy back again in the future, so I definitely recommend playing the VK30.01D. Definitely gets a lot better with the top turret and with the top gun. You need to play it like a medium/light, as I've said before. Don't rely on its armour, don't rely on its accuracy too much, but you know, be aware that you do have the speed to get around the battlefield, and that turret is quite a difficult target to hit when you're sniping at distances. So use it to your advantage by hiding the rest of your tank behind a hill or behind an obstacle. Alright, take care guys, and this is goodbye for real this time.